The Crash Course Live is presented by
Smash It Demolition Derbies, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, host of Maymania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com.
Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to this edition of the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast. This is episode 395. Appreciate you joining us here. Brian had a Hall of Fame induction ceremony. One of his all-time best coaches that he worked with is being enshrined in the Section 5 Hall of Fame. And so he's not going to be with us tonight, but nonetheless, we persevere. Appreciate all of you good folks tuning in with us here. This thing is fighting me back a little bit tonight. This thing was having no problems a few minutes ago, and now here we are. But anyway, Casey Smith's going to be joining us here for this edition of the program. He's going to be talking a little bit about the Smith Metalworks Expo that's going to be coming up here this weekend. Talking about some of the different additions and changes and stuff to the event from last year, what the itinerary is going to be. So excited to have Casey joining us here because at this point, Casey, you're looking like only maybe, 96 hours until you got to get this thing up and on its feet?
Yeah, I think it's something like that. So they're all clicking through the hourglass very quickly.
Yeah, that's it seemed like everything kind of happens that way. It's that production week always seems to get away from you. Like you forget what day it is, and it seems like it's never going to happen. But the only person that knows what is or isn't going to go smoothly is it ultimately comes down to you. You know, from the outside looking in, a lot of times nobody's even going to know that there was a mistake or something that was a struggle, right?
Yeah, that's it. And that's what I tell a lot of my promoter friends and people. You know, the people in the stands, they can walk away from a lot of times looking at great shows, and they are great shows, and the people putting them on that stressed for the months and everything knows them couple little things weren't together. But like I always say, when I scream, you can scream.
Right.
So, cool.
That's a good way of looking at it.
Mainly we're just really trying to deliver that experience and, trying to do our best to present the best event that we can for everybody that's attending from all over, because a lot of people look forward to it. And, every year we've had this, it's doubled in size, and you just don't want to have that feeling like you're missing something that one person might be looking for. Mm-hmm. So it's just mainly that, but I got a lot of good support behind the scenes. All the attending promoters, very helpful. They've been a lot of help, with just helping co-promote, fill seats for say. My buddy Frankie Guy, of course, he's been on deck no matter what, standing behind us, helping us. But, like I said, all the promoters, especially. And this year we've got, I don't know if I'd say huge, but we got a really great selection of vendors that are attending that we've never had before. There's a lot of needs that people have out there that we don't necessarily have that menu of items, so we've opened it up and invited a lot of people that have those items. That way when people come here, they can definitely leave with what they're looking for.
And this is all going to be at the new facility that's got the showroom, and nothing has been moved in terms of the manufacturing, so it's an open floor plan at this point, right?
That is correct. And not to lie to you, but a lot of the showroom's kind of an open floor plan at this time, too. I think my wife was just hanging a lot of apparel on racks, and, most of the product we build gets shipped to customers, so
right. What
we have had available, we screw it to the wall to make it very difficult to remove and put into a box. So, but it's shaping up, and it is a new facility, and it's located at 7464 Sharon Mercer Road, which is actually only about a half a mile down the highway from our location where we've had it for the past 2 years. So, but with that being said, with anticipating the attendance, we're going to use a couple of the local businesses here, including our East Penn shop, where everybody's come for the past two expos. Mm-hmm. We're going to use that for parking, and we have shuttle buses running all day Saturday through the parking areas here on Route 62 to make sure everybody gets there and back to their vehicles to make it easy as possible. And, of course, if you're picking up parts, you can gladly drive on up and pick up your stuff. It just, with the added element of a demolition derby at the end of it this year, we'd have to use a lot of space for pit area for the inspection and the pre-staging of the cars.
Right.
So that's something that, a lot of people said over the past 2 years, wow, it would be really cool if you had a derby with this. And so this year we thought, yeah, that would be really cool. And then we're like, yeah, now we got to do this too. But, we're putting on the 2 classes. Once the expo closes at 5 to 5:30, this Jefferson Township Fairgrounds is literally 1 mile over the hill from the shop. So it'll be an easy migration for everybody to get there. We're running the Jeffy Fab Farm compacts, which I think the driver's list has been out for that.
Yep, I was going to run through that. We've got that right here.
Selection. Yep, good selection. I'm sure you can cover that since you got the list.
Yeah, Steven Sickles is going to be in the SMW car. John Shipley's going to be wheeling the Smash It car. Devin Germain's making the trip in. He's going to be in the Impact car. Then we're going to have Jonathan Heilman in the Jeffy's Fab Farm machine. Jordan Rutherford is going to be in the Ruts Fabrication. Jonathan Heilman is going to be in the Hardcore car. How did I mess this up? Let me do this again. Steven Sickles is in SMW. John Shipley is in Smash It. Devin Germain is in Impact. Andy Anderson is going to be in the Jeffy's Fab Farm car. Jonathan Heilman in the Hardcore car. And then Jordan Rutherford will be in the Ruts Fab machine. And then on the youth side of things in this head-to-head 5-on-5 derby is going to be Mason Stacy's in the Crash Course car. McKenna Sealer is going to be in the Carolina Derby Promotions car. TJ McCulloch going to be in the Deadman Derby car. Terry Abadi is in the Demolition Derby Life magazine machine. Spinning Wheels is going to have Joey Backus. And then Elliot Goodwin is going to be in the ME527 car. So that's the crew that's going to be going head-to-head in the compacts. It's the up-and-comers versus the top champs. It's really going to be an interesting combination there.
There was one driver switch for Smash It, Chris. It was J.D. King is going to be piloting that car.
Okay.
I think John hurt his foot or something that I heard, so they made a switch there. But either way, definitely be a competitive car out there.
Yeah.
And it'll be really interesting to see with all the stuff that's went on over the past week how well TJ McCauley holds up against Jonathan Heilman. I know there's a lot of joking and fun stuff going around, and TJ's been, TJ's pretty funny when it comes to, poking the bear at people, to create the buzz and get some stuff going, but now he's going to have to own it on the track and see how well he does. So that's been a lot of fun seeing all these guys kind of, yak at each other, and it's going to be a really fun event, and I think it'll be very impressive to see how well these young people are going to hold up, because I don't necessarily say hold up, but see how far, who wins it, because all these young people have had some seriously good careers over the past season. So
TJ just sent a message, says, acknowledge me.
I just did.
I hope I didn't miss something. I don't remember missing any Facebook messages from him. I hope that's just a joke on off of the Roman Reigns angle, since it was WrestleMania weekend. He's going to be busy. Yep. He's got a derby coming up here soon. He's going to be pretty busy, I think, with that going on. But breaking away so that he can try his hand at it in that head-to-head event that you guys are having. And then there's the second class that's going to be part of that. That is the that's going to be the debut of the spec class, so to say, right?
Yeah, that's correct. That'll be the 03 Ford spec class. And I wish I could give you. I'll name some drivers offhand. I know I'm going to forget somebody, or I'm going to butcher somebody's name, but everybody's going to just have to be patient with me, since there's a lot going on here.
I would just like to point out that when I called Casey, he didn't even know what day it was and had completely lost track of time. So if he forgets anybody, it's a genuine mistake. It's not something that's malicious.
Yeah, don't get your feelings hurt. But I'm planning on piloting a car that was actually sponsored by Rick Förster.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually getting to drive his old Chips, which is an '03 that Rick started his couple seasons in, and I think this will be the 12th run on old Chips. So we're excited to get that. So that was really great of Rick to kind of help me out with, not having the time that I'd like to have, but it's a good, solid used car. And then, of course, we got Scott Drevenick Jr., little freebie. He's going to be competing, and I've seen some pictures of the car he's built, and it's going to be a head turner. Kid's done a great job on it.
He picked up a win earlier this year in the adult class. Did you see that?
Yeah. Yep.
Well earned.
Yeah, I was down at the Virginia show for Carolina Promotions, where him and Mason both finished. I think first and second, or first and third. So, but them two, I got Rick Förster. He's going to be in there. Myself, I believe Mike Miller, I believe Ron McClung is going to be down, and I know he's got a car that's down here.
So, is Ron going to build the car that day?
No, he's going to cheat a little bit. This one was already built and ran at the event down here in the States, so it's actually, I think he's got to do a little work to it, and it's ready to rip. So, and I know that I'm missing others. Oh, Josh Minosky Jr.
Oh, nice.
Yep, and he's running. So, and Shelby Reed, a young girl, youth driver.
Okay. She's
going to be driving. She's coming out of the Donkey Stomp Förster garage. So, and then Jamie Ryordian, which is Dorian Ryordian's wife. She's going to be running. So we've got a field of some youth drivers and some novice drivers, and then some seasoned drivers, and it's all going to be '03 Fords, very similar in build. So it's going to be kind of unique. Just to see how everything pans out that night. I know I'm missing probably one or two other people, so I know that it's just a one-heat showdown, so I know that it was 10 or 12 cars.
And is that spec class going to be one of the topics that all the promoters together address when that summit is takes place? Yeah,
it's kind of neat, for the first time ever, not really ever, but in a formal setting. A lot of the top promoters out of our, region we're getting together Friday night, and we've got a really healthy agenda of a lot of stuff to talk about. And, it's not going to be, when I say healthy, it's going to be everything from, first off, commending everybody for surviving 2 years of the COVID landscape out there with venues and all that. And, everybody's fought struggles over the past couple of years, from, the fans to the promoters to the venues to everybody, you know what I mean? So we're going to review a lot of safety stuff. We got some new things to talk about, if it's got a fit for some certain level of shows. I have a guest speaker that is well-versed in safety management at racetracks. So, always keeping that aspect on the table with safety and trying to keep the sport, to where everybody can go home at the end of the night with no issues. And that's a big undertaking, to be responsible to take care of your drivers and make sure that infrastructure's in place, in the worst case scenario that they actually need it. From EMS to fire to, just safety stuff on the inspections. But, and then, I think there's going to be a lot of, the biggest issue is, you hear everybody all the time say, we want rule commonality, we want to see the same stuff. Well, different regions have stronger areas of builds, if you know what I mean, from compact to street cars to whatever. So that'll be a topic. Whether you can walk, it's nothing that you're going to walk out of there and have the world set in stone, but it may be some things where everybody's a little more sensitive to, where each other's regions are, and, just a lot of the stuff. There's a lot of national shows every season. By default, there's always dates that fall on top of dates, and there's a lot of things that, happen and really at the end of the day don't affect each other's shows. So I think there'll be a lot of good discussion come out of it. There's a whole agenda that we have to go through, but primarily just some healthy discussions amongst everybody, to keep the sport going in a good direction. That's the goal.
Right, and it does need a little bit of a reset too with some of the stuff. We've gone back to some of the situations where we got shows that are laying on top of each other, so we're fighting for the same driver pool, but everybody seems to still have pretty decent turnout. So is it actually a fight? In like you said, the regionality stuff, it all depends on where you're standing as to when you say things, how dumb you are. Just to kind of rob a little bit from Smokey and the Bandit. That's sort of an accurate thing. You look at what the limited well rules are out there in Kansas or Iowa or up into Minnesota, and then look at what they are in New York, and it's a completely different car. And to try and want some of that, to try and chase some of that commonality, it isn't going to be a universal thing. It's fun to try it, and if we can get there, man, that would be outstanding. We'd be able to encourage some drivers to travel, and we get more of that, some of those dream matches where guys from different regions finally have the opportunity to lock horns, maybe in an even playing field. But just to even begin that dialogue has been something that's been a really, really popular topic that's never really gotten off the ground. And if we're genuinely trying to give the sport some legs so that it lasts a little while, it's a conversation eventually that I think is going to happen, and put aside the profits at the county fairs and really try to dig in and find a way to get everybody to coexist for everybody's group benefit.
Yep, and that's a lot of the goal is just make it better, see what's out there to make it look, and that's where this spec class comes in. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, maybe the easiest way to get it is carry a certain kind of class throughout a group. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Start small,
right?
But this is just a really good place to guinea pig something new. See how the inspections go with a common car. Give the promoters and some of the inspectors that work for the promoters and some of our top officials out there a good eyeball on 03 and up Fords, because they are the car that's going to be around for the next decades because of availability. So everybody can start figuring out how they fit into the rule sets or what kind of rule sets they want to start forming for them on a regular basis. So
sure,
that's really the goal of it. And it's, from what I understand, it's going to be really neat because you're going to have these guys working together on things. And also at the track on Saturday evening, everybody's going to be kind of helping out with different stuff. So it's going to be one of the first times where we actually have a large group of promoters all kind of sharing some responsibilities at an event, which is, I think, a great step and also a great thing.
Well, it's driving towards something that we've always talked about here. Is trying to find a way to make the sport better and leave it better than you found it. So moving forward, hopefully this is mutually beneficial for everybody that's involved. A number of vendors going to be coming down and being part of that, and included in that is going to be a bunch of the promoters that you made a reference to. And jumping back into that rules discussion, having one class among the group seems like a good place to start, especially with the way that the dialogue is going to be open in the conversation, so that you don't go from one show to another. One of the biggest hang-ups on this unified rules thing that always seems to come up is, well, you're not going to have the same eyes looking at something every place, and with different regions having different interpretations of stuff, you could have a different car, not so much a huge swing, but it could still be a different inspection, and a car could have issues someplace that it runs and then be completely fine someplace else. But by having everybody there and walking before you run and getting everybody on the same page so that those understandings are brought to the table, so that people can say, hey, where I'm from, what we see when people build this car is this, but where we're from, they don't do that. And I really think it's trending in a good direction. SmithMetalworks.info has a bunch of the information that you're going to want to track down. Smith Metalworks, WORX on Facebook, has a list of all the vendors and everything. Sorry, I cut you off there. I got the list of the vendors here that we'll dive into that, but you had a thought there to follow up on what I was saying there. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. just real quick, that is one of the topics that I'm sure we'll run across is, common inspections, stuff like that. But, trying to make it a perfect world is very difficult, but it all starts with trying.
Right.
So, or at least, if you come out of any kind of group with a couple small things going in a good direction, it's a win.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest thing that we'll be covering will be, the youth programs that we've adopted. I guess we've been asked to help with some SMW youth full-size shows with Coke, with Jason Coke. That's new on the list coming up. Of course, Bash for Cash. We got a stellar list of drivers showing up for that. I think we're approaching a list of, 50 pre-entries for youth full-size at Bash, which is everybody's youth full-size, even the opener, at the Great Stoneboro Fair at the end of the month in April here for the hardcore show. That's got a strong youth start. And a lot of that, and I got to thank the promoters that are carrying a youth full-size classes. Frankie Guy for hardcore, they're having that youth full-size championship
Mm-hmm.
end of the season. And all the promoters are being able to nominate kids that they're pulling out of these different events to send them to that national level showdown. And that's going to be a big deal. When we were in Virginia, we got kids down there that are nominated. They're geared up. They're traveling north. I know there's going to be kids traveling from Western Ohio, probably Michigan. Hopefully this year we get some out of Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gaining some traction. So that's going to be a big part of our Friday night too. It's been a huge help from all the promoters supporting these youth programs across the country.
I like what you were talking about when we saw each other at the Bash for Cash this year, back in the spring. How some of these youth kids that are bringing their cars across the ramps automatically defaulted to a fight, and you took the kid aside and you talked a little bit about, it's not just what you say, but it's how you say it, and coached him a little bit on how to interact and go through inspection line. And you've always been a really even-keeled guy. I've never really come across you getting upset or wound up or anything like that. So it was just good to hear, and that's another one of those things that I think is going to make the sport better if we can get the generation that comes into the inspection line to have a dialogue instead of having have a conversation, instead of that immediate default, throw your hands up into the air. It was like that when I got it. I'm going to load it. If you make me cut anything, it's just like, settle down. Settle down.
Yeah, we're not, and that's the surprising part. We're not, contrary to popular belief, we want to see the cars on the track, not on the trailer. So,
Mm-hmm.
Going into 3 years of this, we have yet to see anybody on the trailer. So, but with anything, you got to remember, with us, we started with the base program. We didn't have we didn't adopt something that was already out there to get into something. We started this from scratch. So the expectations we've been able to outline from the beginning, which really makes a big difference, because like when you was talking about rules from one section of the country to the other, there's a big difference in build cultures, as I call it.
Mm-hmm. I like that term.
When you travel, and that's what I call it. It's a build culture, and that's exactly what it is. I mean, like you said, with the style of cars that are run in New York, with the style of classes with the promoters versus Western Ohio versus Indiana versus West Virginia, they all got a variant to them. And like you said, it's all interpreted in what's acceptable. So, but we've been lucky in that aspect, because I guess we're at the bottom of creating the culture with these youth, not having to deal with what's out there. And it's funny, because I talk to a lot of the parents, in the evenings when we get phone calls and the kids are involved, and that's been something this year that just about every phone call that I've been on, the youth has been involved with it, with the questions. So I'm really, really happy to see that these kids are getting involved in more areas than just building a car or driving it. They're learning how to ask questions. They're learning, interpretations, and that's a big deal. I mean, that's something these kids should really be proud of.
from your standpoint, looking this program over from where it was to where it is now, as it continues to grow with 50 cars signed up for Bash for Cash. When you see the cars go over the ramp, we've talked about there's two schools of thought for the inspection process. One, there is the black and white, you did it or you didn't. It's pass fail. There's no way to be half pregnant. It's in or it's out. And then there is the interpretation of the rules where, well, this guy did this, but he sort of found a loophole, so he's okay to go. But I didn't let this other guy do it because he did this and this. So at the end of the day, everybody went through the same inspection ramp. Everybody went through the same set of eyes. So in your interpretation, as a fabricator, as a driver, as a builder, as a promoter, the cars that are going to be on the track together are all going to be equal within the confines of one another's tricks or shortcuts or plus one, so to say. What is better? What is a better thing to be teaching the kids as they go through the inspection line? What is your preference as a promoter to see? Do you want it to be enforced to the letter of the law? Do you want it to be enforced so that all cars are equal?
I think the question is, the first thing you got to do is deliver to whoever's bringing the car across the inspection line the expectation of that build.
Mm-hmm.
And the rule is, and how you spell it out in your rules is very important. And, one of the very first things you got to establish in a paragraph, on a sheet is how you want the rules to be read. Like we put in there, read the rules as they are written.
Right.
Okay. So we try to say, and like I said, we've been fortunate because for the past few years we've been able to set the precedents. Like, don't go diving into the gray area, as they call it.
Mm-hmm.
We teach you. Our goal is to see these kids pick up a roll sheet and build the car, not study the roll sheet to learn how to beat us on a rule.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, because, and we had a few things that went on, and it was really basic, nothing crazy. Like window, and you really got to watch the punctuation because, boy, I'll tell you what, I never knew how many demolition derby drivers really paid attention to how things were worded in punctuation. I know they didn't in high school, but by golly, they do now, and I'm one of them. So.
Yep.
But like when you say window bars, you got to make sure you spell it out front and rear. You know what I mean? So,
yep.
But some of that stuff helps you do a better job at writing rules. But on the other page, you're not necessarily writing a handbook of how to build the car. You know what I mean? So, but like I say, the old rule is don't ever do anything that you can't fix easily at the track, right?
That's right.
But with that being said, everybody, from the questions I've taken, I've had minimal feelings where I felt someone was really going off the deep end or going in a direction that they shouldn't be. And the discussions have been good. We actually get more discussion about the 4-barrel carburetor rule, the 2-barrel carburetor rule. And it's just something we put in there that we were asked at the beginning of this to try to keep some kind of cap on the engine. And unlike, you're very familiar, and I'm familiar with racing, there's never been, in my opinion, even in the racing world, how to make a good tech rule for an engine, because people are very good at building engines that are stock appearing or have stock parts, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And we do not have the proper environment at a demolition derby after an event to tech an engine and have a very tight engine roll. So we limit the carburetor, we limit the amount of protection you can put on it, and that helps keep the chips down. Mm-hmm. They put on the table as far as investment. But make no mistake, like I tell everybody, this is a competitive class, and we're trying to build drivers to fill the seats that everybody goes and sees at these national shows. So some of these kids really got some well-put-together cars with great drivetrains, good wheels and tires, and they got all the people and resources behind them, even though it's a pretty much a stock-level build, in our opinion. You've seen it. These cars running, they're wadded up, and they still get around. So
They sure do. You were just talking about, well put together cars. Elliot's car is in the shop right now. They're getting ready to lay some paint on the ME527 car for this weekend. Do you remember the IMCA claimer rules?
yep.
I'm sure that would really raise some eyebrows if you put an engine claimer rule in place.
Yeah, I mean, but there's so much baggage that goes with that stuff. You
Isn't
know,
there?
I mean, you know what I mean?
It's a nightmare. It's awful. It is
That's
awful.
That's kind of it's just. I mean, you just look. There's going to be good engines on the track, and what I've always told guys is, and my issues with, and even we've got into the alcohol discussions, and that's one of the topics that we're going to go over pretty big on Friday night with the promoters.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I'll just say it. I'm fairly ignorant when it comes to alcohol and fuel systems. I mean, I know what they do. I know the ratios, but as far as like comparing myself to someone like Jason Koch, I'm not even in the same ballpark or zip code. Okay. So, and I think a lot of the infrastructure that we run into for safety in a lot of areas isn't familiar with it. So we are going to discuss that. But my thing with no methanol or alcohol has always been, I don't like having 3 times of the product in the car with 2 people. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't want 3 times the amount of fuel in the vehicle. And also, at the end of the day, alcohol has always been associated with high performance, and it works. It gives you better performance. It gives you a certain cooling factor for a certain time. And the 4-barrel thing, I think that since this is a learning platform, most engines that will run properly with a 4-barrel carburetor probably have more snot than a young kid needs just getting behind the wheel.
Sure.
So, just trying to limit some of the things on the track. I'm not trying to make somebody buy a new carburetor. I'm not trying to, but it's just how it is,
Right.
Obviously, LSs have a little bit different of a scenario because you can run them fuel injected. So
The methanol thing is such a different game, and you're coming back to the safety side, the safety element discussion. I think that you need to make sure that your track crews and your fire crews, especially if you have, if you don't necessarily have the support of a fire crew from some sort of municipality that is familiar with working with that kind of stuff. If you tell them that it's out there, then they can bring the extra stuff and everything's okay. But that it does present some different challenges, and you start putting that together with the volume. I remember being at, we were at the Shenandoah County Fairgrounds, and one of the drivers, instead of using a fuel cell that was built for Derby, they're using a fuel cell that was built for racing with the bladder inside and running alcohol. And all of a sudden, there was this huge impact in the center of the track, and everybody's eyes were beginning to water. And it was because the top of the fuel cell, the welds on the top of the fuel cell had cracked, and the vapor was leaking out. And you wouldn't have been able to really tell that there was a leak otherwise, except for that caustic sting in your eyes that comes from the alcohol. And there was 2 cars actually that night that had the same fuel cell that had the same thing happen. And it's just one of those prepared things, because you look at a show like a big show that has volunteers clearing the track. Heat 1 and Heat 2, the track turns over quick. It takes 2 trips to get all the cars off the track, but by the time you get to the consolation rounds, there's only 2 trucks left because everybody's found something else to do, or they got into something that makes them too sideways to where they're able to do the job efficiently, so they're not out there. And that's always an issue. So you put that side by side where we can't even get the track cleared off efficiently because we've lost all of our help with an issue like a ruptured fuel tank with something as volatile as that alcohol vapor. You start to look at that thing and say, you know what, maybe this is worth a little bit more discussion so that we can have some preparedness and some contingency plans in place.
Well, that's all it is, because and I'm going to say this hopefully correctly, but Jason was telling me when a short discussion that actually alcohol with a fire can actually be extinguished faster than a gasoline fire.
Yes.
And I don't I'm thinking correctly, that's what he told me, and I had no idea.
I believe the Flashpoint, and I mean, I might be speaking way out of school here, but I believe the Flashpoint is more volatile for hot transmission fluid and gasoline than it is for alcohol just sitting. It's fairly stable. The issue is that from way back, I mean, I don't know how deep down the rabbit hole we want to go, but sprint cars had an issue with this stuff from way back. That's how Doug Wolfgame got burned real bad in the sprint car. It was because it didn't have any flame. You could just see the fire suit was changing colors and you knew that it was on fire. There's been additives and stuff that have been put into this stuff now, so you can actually see the flames and tend to it as otherwise. And like you said, it's easier to put out because I believe, if I'm not speaking or oversimplifying the science of it, it's a more stable fuel than what you have with like gasoline vapor or even transmission fluid.
Correct. So, and this is exactly why I'm having a couple of the industry experts come in and talk, to educate us. So that's just something, that way everybody that wants to run it, everybody's got the stuff in place to deal with it appropriately, and it's more comfortable. So, that's what it boils down to. A lot of guys are very versed in that fuel. You take somebody like Mike Klinger or, a lot of other people, and there you have it. So I just thought, well, you know what? I don't know nothing about it to an extent to talk of any value, so we'll bring some people in to educate the whole class per se, and then we know. Get it from the horse's mouth, as I say. So, but yeah, that's the Friday and Saturday rundown with the vendors. Every year more and more people are coming. We want to bring more and more to the forefront for them. So we brought in a lot of additional parts vendors this year. O3 Nation, Enforcer Fabrication with C.J. Craven out of Indiana. We got Brian's Machine Shop making a trip. Of course, Ryan Ostrander, Jeffy's Fab Farm, of course, us. We're going to have...
I got your list if you want me to run through it. That way everybody gets accounted for.
Why don't you do that? Yep.
All Frame Racing Videos, he's in the chat right now. Alex Vasco, Demolition Derby Life Magazine. They've got a car out there for that head-to-head compact battle. Jeffy's Fab Farm, Brian's Machine Shop, Ruts Fab. They've got a car out there as well for that head-to-head battle. Lamont Customs is going to be making their trip out. ME527 and the Unified Point Series going to be on hand. Deadman Derby Productions, we acknowledge you. Hardcore Derby Promotions, Iron City Promotions, Derby Dog Promotions, C4 Graphics and Design, Smash It Demolition Derby, Toast Inc., Catskill Fabrication, that's Ryan Ostrander, Derby Nation TV, GSP Promotions, Stern Dirt, Impact Motorsports out of Canada. That representation is going to be their Triple D Promotions. They do the King of Ohio and King of Indiana Derbies. Carolina Derby Promotions, Spinning Wheels, New Alex Lions Club. That is where the Iron City the Iron City Nationals were held last year. Derby Tees is going to be making the trip out. Smith Metalworks, obviously they're hosting it. Youngstown Oxygen, Bull Shirts, Redline Performance and Machine, Indiana Auto Salvage, that's going to be a core buyer. Realistic Derby Project is going to be on hand. O3 Nation, Enforcer Fabrication, Mositos, Motorsports, Most Wanted Fine Art, JK Engines, Brian Machine Shop, on there for a second time. Coke Performance, Most Wanted Fine Art, Crash Course, You Jag Off Podcast, Trackshot TV, and then there's career opportunities and jobs with Universal Pressure Pumping, Imperial Systems, Apex Manufacturing, and Flynn Tire Company. Again, that's the rundown of the vendors that are going to be at the Smith Metalworks 2022 Expo, 7464 Mercer, Sharon Road, and Mercer, smithmetalworks.info for additional details. That covered everybody.
Everybody, but don't forget, we're going to have Smoky Martin's Barbecue on hand all day, serving the best barbecue at this end of the state and probably most states. So they'll be on hand making sure everybody's fed all day. He sold out last year. I know he's packing extra this year. And I believe we have our local Jackson Center Fire Department is going to be on hand in the expo doing some basic stuff, hamburgers, hot dogs.
Awesome.
And also at the Derby, it is going to start. I believe we have it scheduled to start at 7 p.m., so that gives everybody enough time to kind of migrate from the expo down over the hill to the Derby track.
Nice.
Power Wheels take the track first, and then we'll do the up in the air yet. I'm thinking that we might throw a twist into this. We might run the O3 spec class, and then the winner out of that gets to run with the Fab Farm compacts.
Okay.
I'm kidding. Everyone's going to... Or maybe we'll go the other way, you know. We'll bring one of them bad news Camrys in there. So
That'd be cool.
But no, it'll be a fun evening. We're looking at getting it in, you know, a great little event, you know, a couple exhibition classes with a lot of good fun, some rivalries starting and getting finished on the track, or maybe not. And then, you know, I'll be able to be out there competing against some of our students. So it'll be a lot of fun. So, and then get everybody out of there at a decent time, and they can go back to the, you know, if it's our host hotel, the Roadway Inn, there's the Margarita King restaurant lounge there, great food. And hopefully we're trying to put together maybe an extended happy hour there for Friday night for guests coming in.
Nice.
And vendors, while we're busy talking about our promoter stuff and everybody together. That way everybody can get settled in for the evening. And, of course, all the hotel information, seminars this year. We're running a full schedule of that on Saturday. You can find that information on our website as well under the events tab. Of course, I'm going to do a Ford overview of Ford frames, 98 to 02 for say versus 03 and up.
Mm-hmm.
Going to talk about the manufacturing that's used in the hydroform frames, what makes things different from hydroform to the conventional C-channel frame that goes together. You know, a lot of questions there. We'll probably do a demo to cover our 03 engine mounting system to show people how quick and easy it is to throw in there. Jeffy's Fab Farm, I believe, is going to do an LS overview with tech tips and also LS products and engines that he sells. Brent Johnson is going to cover the Derby don'ts with engines, some of the myths that we see, some of the things that guys do that can be detrimental, some of the things that how you shouldn't treat your engine. So Brent's always real good with that, covering a lot of things that probably any great reputable engine builder would back, not just him, but others. My nephew Dan Clark is going to do a quick seminar on steering geometry and suspension. Very, very, very great top builder he is, so that's something you're not going to want to miss. And I'm sure I'm missing something in there. Jason Koch, of course, is going to be back to do his thing with carburation and fuel delivery. That was one of our, I would say if you could give a Google rating to it, it was a 6-star. Everybody that told me that it was absolutely fabulous. They learned more in that half hour or 40 minutes than they thought they'd learned in years. So,
that's awesome.
Once again, there's just so much that you can learn here from a lot of people just by asking questions. It can really change your season or change where you are in the sport. I believe that.
That's awesome. We had Eugene Williams asking about, are there going to be videos like there were last year?
I believe so.
Okay.
We have the one specific room that will be set up for the seminars. I haven't honestly had any dialogue hardly with Alex, but
Okay.
I'm sure that, you know, with all the media outlets we have here, we also have a film crew that has been doing some documentary pieces. Bill Lowenberg, he's going to be here doing some stuff.
Nice.
Of course, Jason Sowers always has the live stream stuff flowing. He's, you know, I don't know what, 5, 6 social media outlets, juggle one at a time. Of course, Josh Decker is going to be in the house, and you know, we've got a lot of great outlets. So I'm sure some of it's going to be zinged out there somewhere in internet land.
Perfect.
But the seminars will be, I'm sure Alex, last year, I believe he videotaped every one of them and had on his YouTube channel. So, and he is absolutely welcome to do that again. So, Mark Elliott, of course, you know, we're doing some fundraising for the ME527 point series, unified series. That has been, that's been a package that has really brought out some amazing things from the competitor side, the promoter side. and what the fans get to see. I mean, you want to see some dedication come out of people when they chase that series, and to win that championship, or I'll be honest with you, even to throw your hat in the ring and go after that, you got to really be made of something. And if you're not made of it when you start, you'll definitely be made of it when you're done.
Right.
Whether you're on top or you're in the last position. So Mark has really got that to where I think it's going to continue to gain traction. And I think he can only be so many places, so many times. But if you're a promoter and you don't get your hat in the ring to kind of try to bring that in, I look at it, just like the World Outlaw shows traveling around to different tracks. If you get the opportunity to bring that into your neighborhood, you should go for it.
Right on. Yeah, I think it's a great situation for what's happening in the sport as a whole. That's a good look at it right there. The next event is going to be Dead Man's No Mercy in Dunbar. No Mercy 2 is coming up April 15th and 16th, and Derby Icon Spring Explosion is going to be April 22nd and 23rd. Hardcore's Compact Throwdown is the 30th. That's the first show on the Hardcore schedule in Stoneboro. Hardcore's Controlled Chaos in Knox, PA, May the 14th. Smash's Bash for Cash is on the schedule now, 27th through the 29th. TNT's Wexford Warzone is June 11th in Cadillac, Michigan. Schedule is a little bit shorter this year, but they've also done some different things with the scoring. Ty Richards out in front, 40 points to his credit. Trevor Jones, 29 points in second place. Don Santel is third with 23. Cody Klumke and Dylan Simonton, 22 points each in a tie for fourth. Bill Miller, 21 points. Corey Buddy, 16 points. Stay up to date with everything online. M527UnifySeries.com has your details there. That the Heats events. If you had to go through a qualifier, it's paying 20 points my mistake. If the feature's paying 10,000 plus, it's a double points show. And then if there was half point increments as well. I think it was in excess of 5,000. So yeah, there's an opportunity there for some of the drivers who were claiming that there was cherry picking going on at the county fair level. They didn't have the ability to necessarily do that. So those guys have a chance to really shake things up, and it's been a very, very competitive schedule so far this year with more to come. And also it's back down to about 30 shows again this year. So it's a little bit more manageable for somebody who's trying to run the gamut.
Yeah, I don't know how he did that before. That just amazed me.
Yeah.
But
it was equally amazing watching the guys show up and they're finishing in the running order. I think there was 11 or 12 wins a couple times turned in through the course of the season, which is that's a win on about a little over a third of the schedule, which is just stunning when you think about it.
Oh yeah, it is. I mean, like I said, if you don't know what you're made of when you start that series, you definitely find out what you're made of at the end of it. So, and that's a fact.
Yep.
But we did. We were excited too this year. Just to go back, Dustin Woods with Triple D.
Mm-hmm.
I believe we're doing the youth show there.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be another youth full size in the Mecca Demolition Derby in Western Ohio. So
sure. That's is that going to be back at Lima again?
I'm assuming so. I got to be honest with you. I'm a terrible person to ask where and what is, because
okay.
I usually don't know until somebody tells me when it's time to get in the truck and head that direction.
Right.
To be honest with you. I'm honestly a basket case a lot of the time. So what you see on the surface isn't necessarily what's actually going on in my head.
Well, you're doing a great job with it. I hope everything goes well this weekend, and I like the additions of the shuttles, and there's going to be signage and stuff. Local business is going to be allowing people to park their cars there. Hopefully everybody's respectful of that situation. Nothing gets out of hand, and everything's looking good, man. You got a couple days left, and then after that point, it's whatever happens, I guess.
Yeah, we even got PennDOT involved in this year with the big digital traffic control signs out on 62, so...
Cool.
We're anticipating a great crowd, and like I said, if you from whether you're a fan, a builder, a driver, a promoter, and even promoters from other areas, if you haven't been here, you should come here. Any of our vendors that are listening tonight, if you need anything, get a hold of us. Anything, we're accommodating. Whether you need electric, etc. So. We're looking forward to a big packed house, and this will be the first event we have in the back complex before we move our manufacturing there here at the end of May into June. So
Awesome.
We don't have everything done that we want to with the weather and stuff outside, but we've made as much ground, and kickoff's coming, so the field will be ready. The field will be ready.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like everything is progressing. Where does it go from here? I mean, as huge as this thing has become, and it's got a life of its own, where does it go from here? I'm sure you never expected it to be at this point to begin with.
No. You got to remember, our very first one of these we did, we were expecting to call it an open house, Customer Appreciation Day.
I remember that.
We were overrun by people from all over, which was fabulous. And year 2 was even more amazing. So we figure this year is going to be great. But where will it go? That'll probably be a big topic of discussion on that Friday night, too. So no matter where it goes, Chris, we want it to be bigger and better. And, I can only do so much with what I got for it, and I'm giving it my all, but I think it deserves more. And we're going to see what we can do to give it more in the next year. Okay.
Well, you've done a great job building the baseline for it. Now it's just a matter of finding the new things to help push it over the edge. And you got so many minds in the inner circle at this point where I don't think it'll be hard for you to come up with something.
Well, that's just it. You can do more together, so that's what we're going to try.
I had a motivational poster in the school announcements that you can do more together. Cooperation was the social emotional learning character trait that we were focused on for the month of March, and everything was based around cooperation. Yeah, it's very true, very accurate.
Well, we all get caught up in our lives, and we think this could be better, this could be better, but right now, us as a country and us as fellow Derby people and the family, and you really got to appreciate what we have, what we get to do. Especially when you look across the pond, per se, and you go to Eastern Europe and you see what's going on in Ukraine. And, we're a very fortunate country with very fortunate people. And by the grace of God, we're just able to do what we can do, and we can't lose sight of that. We really just need to get away from the negativity that can be easily bred out of it, and just keep as much fun in this sport and competitiveness. And at the end of the night when the lights go out at the track, just tomorrow's a new day. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Everybody's got to go to work on Monday, too. That's why the safety part's so important.
Absolutely.
I had a quick question. Did you see that post that Frankie Guy put up today with that round back? And he had a whole lot of car left. Did you see his picture?
I haven't looked at a single Facebook thing today, to be honest with you.
Well, it's the difference. It's the difference between somebody like you who's busy and somebody like me who had to kill an hour before he had to sit in front of a microphone. So,
I was going to say it's the difference between somebody like me that's busy and somebody like Frankie.
How long have you known
TJ, and I'll pick on Frankie.
How long have you known Frankie?
Surprisingly enough, I've known him since his days when he ran derbies competitively and when he was official. More so from when he was an official and when he was with Crow Shores and they migrated up our way.
Right.
I've told Frankie before, life can be great, and I'll tell you why. Because there was a time when he was the official on that track, I thought he was the biggest butthole on the planet. Him and his ball bat to hit you on the hood of your car and yell at you. Here's the irony: yell at you for sandbagging. So I'm going to pick on him, and he's probably laughing right now anyway. But I guess that's kind of where things have changed. When you said earlier about me being a level-headed guy and all that, let me tell you, all the years in the past, Chris, there's a lot of people that will tell you that wasn't the case. I look at some of my past, and it's kind of embarrassing when I look at what how I used to act. And trust me, I used to come out of the car unglued or whatever, and but you get past it, you grow out of it, you realize what's important, and it's just being able to be a part and a help with a lot of these promoters and a lot of their staff, a lot of the drivers, a lot of the events. I couldn't ask for anything more. You know, when you love something and you turn it into part of your livelihood and you can help others through it, there's nothing more rewarding. So,
That's awesome.
But that's kind of how I've known Frank, you know, of course, over the past years working together with stuff and, you know, the hardcore crew. And I've got to meet a lot of promoters and learn more about them, and, you know, from coast to coast. And it's really been a great time with getting to know a lot of people.
Frankie guy just responded with a string of emojis, a bunch of shrugging and a bunch of like face palming.
Right.
That's that means that there's little like illustrations instead of typing out words. It's just an illustration of somebody shrugging or putting a face palm is where you put your palm on your face. Like.
Yep. Oh no, I know what that is.
Sorry.
I see a lot of those emojis every once in a while when me and Steve Siopa might be texting and we have Todd involved in something.
Oh man.
but yeah, that's you know, again, just to recap the event, all the great promoters, Iron City, they look like they got a blockbuster show coming this season. So
I can't believe the number of cars that are already pre-registered. You know, last year it got a little weird there towards the end, and they didn't get quite what they thought, but they set the bar. The show went off, and, you know, the show must go on, so to say, and it was outstanding. So all those cars that are signed up, it's going to be crazy. Yeah,
and I mean, in some of the heats, I think the Super Stock, as it's called, you got three all-star heats.
Right.
I mean, you just don't have one or two heats that's got premier people in it. You've got a whole show full of it. So, I mean, it's something. And I think you're gonna see that at a lot of promoters this year.
Yeah.
One thing that I've noticed is the more that whether they'll admit it, or not, the more the general driving public sees the general promoters in a certain way, getting along a certain direction, they start buying into their shows more, and they start traveling more. Mm-hmm. And I think you'll see that this season also.
It's the stamp of approval.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times have you heard the sentence, "I won't drive at a show the first year. I want to go watch it and see how it goes." And
I want to see how it shakes out.
I want to see how the inspection goes. I want to see how the rules are read. There's a million reasons why not to, but by getting that sort of that affirmation, that stamp of approval, it has helped open up some doors, and you've got drivers going places. And I think another one of those things that has sort of helped kickstart that to sort of turn the volume up to 11 over the last couple of years has been the role of the Unified Point Series. And by Mark going through and vetting these shows and getting drivers where they almost have to go check out some of these other shows, and then you get the same promoters talking good about one another and everything like that, it has sort of helped. That stuff was happening. We were going to get to this point that we're talking about right now eventually, but I think that has helped operated as a catalyst to speed that curve up and get more buy-in from the drivers who, I mean, generally, fight me if you want, but I think generally Demolition Derby drivers aren't quick to trust anybody.
Well, no, and you got to understand, rightfully so, because we all know what the investment is in the sport, depending upon the level of the sport you're in and the amount of investment, and it's a lot of work. Mm-hmm. And you're investing a large portion of time out of your life. So by rights, it should be something that has to be sometimes earned, if you know what I mean. I mean, right. and that's where I think you're going to see better things happen with delivering. One thing that I will say today that, say, 5 years ago or so ago, you had a lot of shows go on, and today, mostly everybody, from what I see, if they say it's this, it's paying that. It's paying this. Mm-hmm. If they're going to to have the show with this, this, and this. It's going to have this, this, and this. Mm-hmm. So they're delivering what they're saying, unlike most politicians.
Yeah, the nice part about this is the days of showing up for a derby, open registration derby. You sign up the day of. It's not one that's ahead of time, county fair or standalone otherwise. Those days, you don't hear those stories very frequently anymore. The way that it used to be, it's like during the drivers' meeting. Well, we didn't get the number of cars we thought we were going to do, so we're going to have to cut the purse someplace. Like that's all.
Right.
I gotta believe. I want to believe anyway that is sort of done and over with, and that era of the sport is gone. But
I think it is.
But that alone was part of the reasons why stuff wasn't trustworthy. And we had somebody, I think Eugene said that we were joking about that installing an engine claimer rule. They still have a car claimer rule at his local fair for the derby stuff. And I remember there was a promoter here. If you won one of the derbies, if you won the state fair, I think it was the state fair, the top 3 cars were confiscated. And then they found out that maybe those cars were still running derbies out in Western New York, and I mean it's all just this mythical. It's the same as seeing a unicorn. I don't know if there's anybody that can say hands down that did or didn't happen if they saw the cars or not. But I mean that just can't happen in today's time. If you want cars showing up at your derby, you can't take the cars. Period. Just period, full stop. A promoter cannot take the cars and then say that they're going to go take them to the crusher because they're getting scrap value out, and that's how they keep their operations and they pay for their trophies or they pay their purses or whatever. And even further than that, you can't take somebody's car, dissect it, and then go run it at another fair. That's unheard of. If anybody was caught doing that, they're going to be found in the trunk of a car. You know what I mean? It's just insane to me that the sport even had to go through that type of a growing pain.
Right, but getting through it, it's like everything else. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah.
So I think everybody's seen it. The biggest time is, that I think is you have to genuinely appreciate the driver and the builder for what they've invested time-wise, not just to build the car, but what they've chose to do with that portion of their life. They've chose to put that time in the car, in the garage, and then come to your event. So... And I think that is something that everybody values more so than ever, because you can put a price on scrap metal, you can put a price on engine parts. You can't put a price on somebody's time.
Right. Yep. I agree. Well, I can't believe it. We're already up to the top of the hour and now cruising past it. We talked about Smith Metal Works Expo online, smithmetalworks.info. We talked about the Unified Point Series. We do have to take a minute to tell you quickly about RPM Group. RPM Group that's not where that's supposed to be. There we go. This isn't working very well. RPM Group. RPMGroupNY.com, a progressive waste management company that was based in Owego. RPM Group started in 2016. Now boasts 2 roll-offs, 6 garbage trucks, fully certified and licensed. The RPM Group customer base has grown to more than approaching 4,000 people at this point, offering curbside trash and recycling services, asbestos abatement, asbestos surveys, interior and exterior demolition, lead renovation, mold remediation, mold assessment, dumpster rental. Call Corey 607-223-8714. That's 607-223-8714 for additional details. And Bash for Cash. Also, Bash for Cash is going to be represented at the Smith Metalworks Expo by Smash It Demolition Derby, the Ross County Fairgrounds in Chillicothe, Ohio. 3-man team pro stock, $15,000 to win. Turn Back the Clock class, $12,000 to win. Smash It Minis, $10,000 to win. May the 27th is the Pro Stock Steam Heats and the Smith Metalworks Youth Full Size. The Turn Back the Clock Heats and the Pro Stock Team Consies are part of the program on May the 28th. We're also going to see Frank the Tank and the Smash It Mini class running on May the 28th. And then Championship Sunday, the Farm Trucks. The Relic class is going to be on track. Smash It Full Size, the Pro Stock Team feature, and Turn Back the Clock feature. The entire schedule is available along with purse structures and the support class registrations online, smashitderby.com for details there. Casey, man, I appreciate you coming on and hanging around for a little while. I got 2 more spots to run here before we get out of here. Is there anything else that you wanted to hit on that we might have missed?
No, I'm probably down to 94 hours before the event now after being on here for so long. So, but I appreciate it, and look forward to seeing everybody this weekend. So,
of course.
Any questions, email us, Facebook us, or call us. All right?
Fantastic. I appreciate it, Casey.
Yep. Enjoy your evening.
See
Bye.
ya. There goes Casey Smith. I had him on the line for an hour and 7 minutes, so I think he's inside of 95 hours left. All right, so real quick, before we get out of here, that is going to be one of the final things that we do here. We want to let you know Jeffy's Fab Farm. I saw a post today. I'm excited about this. The Camry in a Box campaign is coming back. $725, I think, is what the retail was on it. Make sure you check that out. But let me take a moment to tell you a little bit more about Jeffy's Fab Farm.
Jeffy's Fab Farm in Fredericksburg, Virginia specializes in all of your demolition derby needs. We've got you covered from bumper to bumper. Whether you need headers, shifters, harnesses, fueling systems, or complete turnkey setups, Jeffy'sFabFarm.com can help. We've even got a Canadian branch to help our northern customers. With over 16 years in the industry, we've got the knowledge and experience needed to provide the highest quality parts and put you in the winner's circle. Visit our website today or call Jeff at 540-907-3390. Fabby says the best parts come from the farm. Jeffy'sFabFarm.com.
Where'd you go?
We did do a derby.
Ow, my head! You want to do a derby?
Hey Derby World, this is All For Him Racing Videos, where Derby never ends. We have people come up and ask, what is All For Him Racing Videos? And the answer is a YouTube channel dedicated to growing the sport of demolition derby in a positive and fun way. Our passion is to show the next generation this sport and capture the memories for generations to come. We're just trying to show that you can be a Christian, do crazy and exciting things like demolition derby, and just spread the word. We have traveled all over the country filming events, all while meeting many great people, hearing amazing stories, seeing the passion for this sport, and falling in love with the derby community. We have grown to be the largest demolition derby channel on YouTube across the world, with millions of views within our large library of videos. We love what we do and can't wait for what the future has in store. We always want to be a place for positive, exciting, and action-packed derby videos. Thank you, Derby World, and enjoy the videos.
And Alex Vasco just replied to Eugene Williams. He's planning on sharing some videos. That was a good look at some of the sampling that you're going to see from Alex Vasco and All For Him Racing at the Smith Metalworks Expo this weekend. So that's going to do it. We crossed a lot of bridges here tonight. Man, there was a lot of content. Hopefully everybody enjoyed it. 395 is in the books. We're going to be back again next Monday, and we'll be recapping everything going on there. We'll be looking ahead to Deadman and No Mercy coming up the week after that. Hopefully we'll be able to get a hold of TJ. We acknowledge you, sir. And I think that's going to do it. We appreciate you tuning in. We will see everybody next time. Thanks for watching.
The Crash Course Live is presented by Smash It Demolition Derby, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, host of May Mania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com. Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel, and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York.